Hey guys, Cream Crazy here. Welcome to the first Friday flashback review of the audio era. That's right, I've never done a review in this form before, so this should be quite interesting. Well, let's hope it's relatively interesting for you guys. This first review is one of the big 5 WrestleManias, WrestleMania 22, held in Chicago in April 2006. Now I will say this, when I first watched this show, I loved it. And to be honest, ever since then, I've held it in decent regard, because there are some matches I love on this card, and there are some which I absolutely hate. Nonetheless, I haven't watched it in full since about 4 or 5 years ago. So some of it's fresh in my mind, but some of it isn't, so I'm happy I took time to actually watch it over. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's get on with this then, shall we? There are 11 matches on this card. Do I even need to explain it? 11 matches. It's too much even for me, but I'll get to that later. First off, we start with the World Tag Team Championship match as Big Show and Kane defeated Carlito and Chris Masters to retain said Tag Team Championships. Now, what I love about this intro, and to be honest, this kicks off the event, so you'd think they'd hype this match up to be the opener. Well, in all fairness, they don't even bother. You know why? Because Carlito and Masters' entrances, JR spends more time introducing Cole and Taz and the Spanish commentators rather than focusing on the challengers. Now, I want to point that out there. That's a shit way of building up your heels when they're about to go into a match with 2 giants. Let me just point that out. That's pretty damn stupid. Anyway, Masters and Kane start out. Masters rebounds off the ropes with a shoulder block, but Kane hits back with a drop kick. Headbutt by Show, and the tag leads to a chop assault in the opposite turnbuckle. Scoop slam and stomp by Show continues the assault, but a thump to the eye allows for Masters to tag in Carlito. Carlito wants to lift him up, but Show uses his strength to drop Carlito onto the top rope, nuts first. Military press slam on Masters by Show continues the champion's dominance early on. Carlito is then press slammed onto Masters on the outside. Kane then hits a clothesline to the outside off the top rope to compound the challenger's misery. Show lifts Carlito up by his hair and puts him back in the ring, but the drop to the knee to the exposed turnbuckle by Carlito gives him the offense for the first time in this match, and a nice double flapjack gets the first cover of it as well. Their offense doesn't last for too long, as Show then counters with a double suplex. Kane tags in and proceeds to back body drop, clothesline, and punch the crap out of the challengers, before whacking a side slam on Carlito for all good measure. Masters then saves Carlito from a top rope clothesline with the master lock, but Show then hits a side-on big boot to break it up. As Show is dealing with Masters, Carlito hits the backbreaker on Kane, or I should say backstabber on Kane. Show goes for a chokeslam, but Masters hits the knee with a low shoulder, and the momentum switches again. Wait, or was it a backbreaker? Maybe I'm thinking too far ahead here. Kane sets up a double chokeslam, but they fight out. Kane hits a boot on Masters. Kane goes for the chokeslam on Carlito. Masters is ready for a double axe handle off the top rope to Kane, but he hits his partner instead. Kane then hits the chokeslam for the win. A pretty basic match where the heels are basically given no chance, especially when you look at the fact that Carlito is a light heavyweight. You would expect him to get the pin and be pinned by the champion, who is much bigger. You'd expect it. And it's a fairly substandard way to kick off the show. Just remember, if anyone has not watched these reviews before, I sum up the matches after I look through them all. Anyway, Rob Van Dam defeated Ric Flair, Shelton Benjamin, Matt Hardy, Finlay, and Bobby Lashley in the second Money in the Bank ladder match. Now, I will say this. I'm going to say this before I even get to the pros and cons. This is nothing like last year's in terms of epic win, even though it is still good. Anyway, all hell breaks loose as the match starts. Lashley focuses on and destroys Finlay and Flair before Benjamin whacks him with a stiff kick. Hardy gets the ladder, but RVD baseball slides into him and crossbodies onto it. Holy shit, chants are already breaking out, and I've got to tell you, Chicago is fucking pumped for this, especially after the meh match they had to begin with. Back in the ring, Benjamin whacks Finlay with a ladder, props up against the second rope, and then springboards into a senton to the outside. It is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Finlay and Flair fight over the ladder. Flair puts up the ladder on top of Finlay. Hardy fights Flair on the ladder, and then hits a massive superplex off the top. Now, Flair is in agony, and I will say this, I still get a bit bemused by this, because the referees go for the X sign for him being injured, the EMTs come down to assist him to the back. I have no idea if he is legitimately hurt knowing his previous back injury, or selling like the absolute boss he is. Because we know the history of Flair, the back injury, the lot. You're going to get some uber selling with that kind of spot there. It was brilliant, I'll say that. RED re-enters and drop toe holds Benjamin right onto the ladder. Rolling Thunder is lined up by Benjamin, but Benjamin rolls out and RVD's back eats ladder. Lashley goes up alone, slowly, showing again why heavyweights really do not belong in this damn thing. Benjamin goes up with him, throwing punches, rolls over for a sunset flip powerbomb, but Lashley holds on. Hardy and Finlay make sure that the biggest man in the match goes down with an absolute thud. Yeah, pretty unique to see. The fact is, even though, I will say this, the biggest guy in the match isn't even a Big Show or a Kane guy, so good way to put Lashley over. The crowd then chant for RVD, and it definitely looks like I know where they want this match to go. Facebuster by Finlay drives Benjamin's face into the ladder. Hardy presses Finlay into a ladder, and Finlay throws it right into the face before throwing one on Lashley and RVD, leaving the Irishman in the ring alone. The crowd then woo as Flair comes back out, hits a Polish hammer and chops before throwing Finlay into the aisleway before climbing up on his own. Hardy goes for him, but he's chopped away. Benjamin tries the same, but receives the similar chop treatment. Flair is then up there alone, and he's almost got it, but Finlay, being the smart heel that he is, staying with character, whacks him with a shillelagh right on his dome. Easy, simple, effective, fits with the character, brilliant. Finlay's got it, by the looks of it, but Benjamin then moves the ladder, making the briefcase swing. Lashley then whacks the ladder into Finlay and Benjamin before hitting the Dominator on Benjamin right there and then. Lashley starts climbing as RVD hits the Van Daminator, which is the drop kick with a chair, to the back. And yeah, just in case any of you don't know what the Van Daminator is, let me just point that out there. I have to be noting that not all of you may know a lot of stuff. Then again, knowing people who watch my videos, you know what a lot of these moves are. Hardy then climbs to the top of the ladder in the corner and hits a massive leg drop on Lashley. Hardy then climbs up, selling that leg well, but Finlay stops him. Finlay climbs up, but Hardy fights back with a side effect off the 4th or 5th rung. Pretty nice. RVD goes to the top, hits a massive splash onto Finlay. RVD climbs up, grabs the briefcase, but Benjamin just springboards off the top rope out of nowhere, right on top of the ladder, and because it's so well shot with the camera, you don't even see him doing it. It's brilliant. Hardy goes to the top of another ladder. It's completely mayhem at this point. RVD pushes both men off the ladders, and the master of the 5-star frog splash unhooks the briefcase to win. And honestly, I think we all saw this coming. Even back in 2006, we saw that RVD was going to get the win here. I will state it here. Looking back on it, it was a missed opportunity because somebody else really deserved it, in my honest opinion. Next, JBL with Jillian Hall in his corner, and I always forget that at this time she was. Grotesque face mole and all, defeating Chris Benoit to win the WWE United States Championship in what was a pretty good match. Neck elbow tie-up kicks off the match, but Benoit is backed into the corner by a stronger JBL and a headlock is then applied. Benoit pushes out, but is hit by a shoulder block. Benoit tries to lock in the crossface, but JBL keeps the hand away. Benoit ferociously headbutts JBL, but he reverses into another side headlock. Benoit weasels out, holds the leg and elbows the back of the head, really focusing on the neck region. Chops ensue, and while it happens, I see this fantastic sign. It's real to me, damn it. Epic win for the meme. Anyway, whipped into the other corner by Benoit, but he runs into a boot. However, he fights back with an arm drag before lining up for the sharpshooter, but once again, the power of JBL proves to be too much to lock it in. Jillian Hall is thrown into Benoit, leading JBL to thump the eye and regain control. Sledgehammer punches by JBL to the neck and back before some supebone punches to the face and a kick to the skull. Benoit is Irish whipped into the corner. He ducks, however, as JBL went for the shoulder and hits a lovely triple German suplexes. Hits the lovely German suplexes, I will say. Benoit goes for the swan dive headbutt, but JBL pulls the ref, gaining him... Yeah, I got that right. Pulls the ref, gaining him to the ropes and stopping Benoit from doing his finisher. JBL mocks the late Eddie Guerrero as he advances to the top and punches away before hitting a massive superplex followed by a cover for 2. And I will state this. Cole remarks that there hasn't been a cover in the entire match up until this point. And that makes a real difference to what we see today when he'll get a pin after every single move. That's what made this match refreshing. Loads of countering, good stuff, and very little time for a count. It just fit for me. I don't know why, it just did. Anyway, where the fuck am I? See, I mean, you can't see me fucking up in this review, but I know I've just completely lost my place. Anyway, here we are. JBL goes for the three amigos, hits two of them, but Benoit stops him with knees and right hands. A run by Benoit is then stopped for a big boot and covers for two. Reverse headlock applied with the arm wrapped around JBL's leg and the hands around the neck, leaving Benoit unable to escape it. JBL gets up with the hole still in, but Benoit lifts him up for a nice backdrop. Benoit fights back, hits the three amigos, salutes to Eddie Guerrero, goes up for the headbutt. He's bloody far away, hits it. 1, 2, JBL somehow kicks out. And you know what's amazing? Benoit is shown in the replay to have taken more damage, obviously, and the fact that he's slightly turned in mid-air. Fuck! Seriously, just thinking that he actually turned in mid-air for that is stunning. Absolutely stunning. Where am I? Fuck, again, I'm losing my fucking place again. JBL runs into a German suplex hole, but he's then holding on to the referee before struggling to the ropes. Clothesline from hell counted into a crippler crossface. It's now locked in, but JBL rolls through, holds on to the rope out of the referee's sight to get the win and the US Championship. To be honest, guys, if you haven't seen this match, I would go see it. It's a pretty good physical match. I'll get to it later in the review section, but please, it was a fun match to watch. Just go search online now if it's there. It's fun. Next, Edge defeated Mick Foley in a hardcore match. And I will say this now. This match is brilliant. Don't believe me. If you don't think this match is fantastic, I don't know what the hell you've been doing. Anyway, Joey Styles takes over commentary. Very fitting that the master of hardcore takes over the commentary for this match. Pretty awesome. Anyway, Edge comes out with a baseball bat, while Foley comes out with nothing. You really think that Foley would come out prepared? No. You really think he'd come out prepared? Because to be honest with you, Foley is more of a threat to anyone on his own without a weapon. Just saying. Anyway, Edge swings the baseball bat right out of the bell. Edge is then thrown into a facebuster. Tree of Woe in the corner. Elbow is hit. Massive big boot by Edge. He then directs Lita to get a cookie sheet and many more weapons as Ho chants ring out en masse throughout the All-State Arena. Cookie sheet then whack the skull, a road sign is placed on Foley's body, and a baseball slide connects it. Edge lines up for a spear to end the match very early, and to be honest, even looking back on it, I actually look at that and think, fuck, he's going to end it right here? How really stupid. Because, see, he even suspends my disbelief now. He then lines up for the spear, he hits it, but Edge is then writhing in agony, and to be honest, if you haven't watched this match before, you think, what the fuck's going on here? Well, Foley undoes this darker, more somber black shirt to reveal that he's wrapped barbed wire around his chest, which, to be honest, you don't really notice until he gets the wire cutters out, which Joey Styles fittingly compliments King for noticing. Edge's arm is bleeding quite heavily. Foley then throws the barbed wire into that wound and presses it into it to increase the pain. Foley punches Edge into the ropes and he gets tied up and stuck. Foley then just goes under the steps, picks up the barbed wire baseball bat, effectively known as Barbie, ready to inflict pain on a helpless Edge. But Lita runs in, grabs Foley's back, and you think Edge is safe. No, because Foley then hits a cactus clothesline on Edge, sending all three of them to the outside. Did not see that coming, and to be honest, I still get a bit surprised by it. Cover for two, because this is a Falls Count Anywhere match, anything's possible. Swinging neckbreaker by Foley on the outside for two. Edge is then backed into the steps, being punched to hell and back. Foley lines up for the knee breaker, or the knee face breaker, I should say, because that is more of a face breaker than anything else. But Edge then arm drags Foley right into said steps. Damn! Edge throws Foley right into them, and I will tell you now, the thud is pain. Seriously, there are some times when you hit the steps where you want to shudder, but even though you know they're really not as heavy as they are, one of those moments, it sums it. Edge gets a chair and baseball slides Foley to the outside, then grabbing a table from under the ring. Foley is placed on said table, Edge goes up, but Foley rolls off, leading to a surprise, by Joey Styles. That was obviously very anticlimactic. The crowd felt it was anticlimactic, just to say the least. One person shouts for Foley, Foley, Foley! I always mark out hearing that guy, as his hair pulls slammed onto the steel ramp by Edge. Cover for 2, but again, Foley shows resilience by kicking out. Edge is handed lighter fluid, and douses Foley in said lighter fluid. But he then fights back and with a pile driver for 2. King then says here that hardcore matches have to have a limit. You can't go around setting people on fire. And I love it because you can hear the worry in his voice. It's fan-fucking-tastic. Foley then lines up the cookie sheets and a chair for a concerto, but Lita distracts him, leading Edge to hit a DDT onto the cookie sheet. Concussion on delivery, as quoted by Styles. I love that. COD, concussion on delivery. Does it get any better than that in terms of delivery? No. As he goes for the cover, but Foley kicks out again. Edge then pounds the mat in frustration as Lita directs him to Barbie, the barbed wire baseball bat from hell, and whacks it into the gut of Foley, followed by the skull, which is timed to perfection as Foley's head is busted open. However, there is a massive however here. I noticed the blade falling out of his hands. I usually would not notice that kind of thing. I don't normally notice the blade spot, but in this significant spot I did. Edge then wraps Barbie around the face of Foley and face-busts the Hardcore Legend onto the barbed wire bat. Covers, but Foley kicks out. Edge goes out to the steps where Barbie was unveiled, grabs a sack, which turns out to be full of thumbtacks. Foley is punched into the corner. Edge goes for another Bulldog facebuster, but Foley counters into a backdrop, leaving Edge's back punctured and him in absolute agony. Oh, it's so fun. Foley gets Soccer out, which Joey Styles says is not hardcore but effective. Upon the application of barbed wire, he will then correct his statement. Barbed wire Socko to Edge and then Lita, shockingly. Foley then grabs Barbie for one final bout of destruction to the delight of the crowd. Foley swings it to the gut, back and head, followed by a jumping fist drop, with, of course, replacing the fist with the barbed wire bat. Cool. Foley then wraps the bat around Edge's faces on the ropes, and this is where selling plays into it, because you know wrestling, for a lot of people, you'd obviously would say, oh my god, it's not even touching his face, but for fuck's sake, that pain sounds almost real. He's selling it that well. It's fantastic. Anyway, Foley then grabs the lighter fluid and then sprays it on the table as the crowd starts stirring, thinking, what the fuck's going on here? Lita then whacks Barbie to Foley's knees, which I keep thinking was his nuts. I have no idea why. She then sets the table on fire. Edge spears Foley right damn well through it. Such an amazing spot. Such an amazing spot. Edge then covers and gets the win. If I haven't summed that up for you in any way of how brilliant the match is without even having to go through the pros and cons like I will later, please, just... I'm exhausted going through the talking of it. I love it. Such a good match. Then we go from the great to the complete horseshit as the Boogeyman defeats Booker T and Sharmell in a mixed gender handicap match. Oh god, let me just get this over and done with, please. This will be much better. Sharmell was pushed out to start the match. Booker attacks Boogeyman from behind, tagging his wife, and Sharmell distracts the ref as Booker goes for a high kick, covers for 2, and to be honest, the crowd are dead as fuck. There's no reaction apart from a couple of boring chants that I can faintly hear. A rebound clothesline counted into a bookend for 2. Booker misses the scissors kick and is hit by a forearm. Boogeyman eats his worms as Sharmell goes to attack him with his staff. She freezes in horror, which is decent, and he just kisses her with mouth still full of worms. She screams and runs. Booker misses a running elbow. Boogeyman hits his double-handed chokeslam for the 3. It is... to be honest with you, if I had to say this was worse than the Akabono Big Show match from the year before, I don't know whether I'd be true in saying it was or not. Oh god, I don't even want to talk about this match anymore. Let's go on to something good. Mickie James defeating Trish Stratus to win the WWE Women's Championship. Now at this point, if you've known my reviews, you will see me only mentioning a couple of things, note where psychology works and then goes wrong, and then just completely berate it for being devoid of anything interesting. Not in this case. Because this is one of those perfect occasions where a women's match is, how should I say this? Great. Please don't sound shocked. It's true. It's damn true. Collar and elbow tie-up of ferocious proportions starts off this bout as Mickie slaps the back of Trish's head, leading to a back elbow for all her troubles. Luther's press, stomps, chops, and slaps lead Trish off to a fantastic start momentum-wise. Trish catches Mickie's knee and pulls it, leading Mickie to do the splits. Now, the crowd are going, "Oh my god, that's awful!" But here's my problem with that. If this happened to a guy, I can understand why people are groaning in agony because they realise it's hurtful, but it wouldn't hurt a girl, honestly, will it? If anyone knows, put a comment in the description, in the comment section. I will be happy to answer and understand if it's true, because again, I'm not the opposite gender, I wouldn't know. Trish drop kicks Mickie through the ropes, goes for a low chick kick against the steel post, but Mickie ducks, leading for Trish's foot to go into said steel post. Mickie whacks the leg into the post, bitch slapped by James and punches by Trish as James hits a drop kick right to the leg, followed by a leg DDT for 2. Mickie wraps the leg around the rope, stretching it. Trish kicks out when James attempts it for a second time. Mickie grabs the leg and steps on it before locking in a one-legged Boston Crab. And I will tell you now, I am marking out slightly because this is fantastic selling and working by both of them. It's fantastic stuff, as Mickie pulls the hair to add to the pain, covers for 2 as the ref broke the hold at the same time. Shit. Mickie then wraps the leg in the rope again, stepping on it while it's inverted. Fuck! This is... If I saw a Divas match nowadays doing this, I would give it a shitload of praise, for God's sake. This is real psychology work here. Mickie again stretches the knee in the leg, going for the cover for 1. Only 1. The crowd chant, "Let's go Mickie," and for fuck's sake, they like a heel. It's Chicago, what more are they going to do? Mickie tries to turn her over, but Trish spins around and then hits a head scissors. Nice. She's still selling that leg though. Fuck yeah. She punches down Mickie, but the crowd is still booing the shit out of her. The crowd are booing Trish Stratus. Probably because she's been a champ for over a year and they want change. I'm guessing. Massive spine buster by Trish, cover for 2. The crowd has turned on the champion I've already mentioned. Trish goes for a jumping clothesline in the corner. Her drop kick stops it. Mickie goes to the top and is caught in a stratosphere, but she pulls the leg onto the rope, causing Trish to fall to the canvas in pain. Seriously, how can you not love the amount of psychology in this? Cover, but again, Trish kicks out. Inside cradle by Trish gets 2. Mickie's DDT attempt is blocked. Trish sets up the powerbomb position and then hits a running sit-out powerbomb. To see a diva use a power move, I'm all for it. 1, 2, Mickie kicks out all of a sudden, shockingly. Trish is still selling the leg as Mickie goes for a low blow. Wouldn't see how it hurt, but the champion acrobatically ducks it. Trish lines up for a satisfaction, but Mickie, being the psycho character she is, grabs herself some Stratus VS. Yes, you heard me, Stratus VS, to break the hold. So funny. So funny. Anyway, Trish comes back with a massive right hand. However, she fights out by kicking the leg again. Mickie is continuously going for it. 1 chick kick connects. Mickie covers for the win. JR even states that the fans are cheering for her. Good to know a commentator will acknowledge it. And yeah, honestly, I'll say it again. I've said it at the start of this review for this match. I'll say it again. If a Divas match was like that, I would be happy to watch it. It had a backstory. Just saying, it all worked. Next, The Undertaker defeated Mark Henry in a casket match to go 14-0. Now, of course, this is the last Wrestlemania match before every single Taker match becomes a big money maker. Just pointing out the difference between this one and not Big Show, and Batista. Just think about it. Batista next year, Randy Orton the year before. This was not really good in comparison with those two. Henry goes right at Taker to start the match off, but Taker fights round, big boot, and clotheslines off the rebound, but Henry just is not going down. Henry whacks a clothesline off the 3rd rebound. Taker is pushed to the outside, goes to the steps, but Taker blocks it, throws Henry's head straight into them. Henry blocks a 2nd attempt and throws Taker's head into it with some force. Back in the ring, Taker throws some soup bone punches and the uppercut before going for the old school, but Henry punches out of it. Henry orders the casket open and chokes Taker ready to push him in, but Taker fights out. Taker's then whipped into the corner, but hits Henry with a big boot. Taker finally hits Old School, but Henry still isn't going down from it. Henry comes back with a clothesline. Taker's now positioned on the ropes. Henry runs for a jump, but Taker moves and Henry flies straight into the casket legs first. Taker beats him, but Henry pulls him in and beats him down as well. Taker, though, you think wouldn't be down in this situation. You'd be right. Taker comes back with a choke and punches Henry into the ring. Taker goes for his leaping clothesline, but Henry counters with the world's strongest slam. And you think it's all over. You really would. Taker, though, is rolled into the casket, but he lands on it standing up, because he's awesome like that. Taker gets out, headbutts Henry, and Henry hits another clothesline. He just isn't going to back down here. Henry punches him in the corner, Taker grabs him, and hits the last ride from the top. Although technically it wasn't really a last ride because there was no elevation on there. Good to know that Taz pointed that out. Henry is thrown into the casket to the outside. Taker runs, hits an over-the-top rope clothesline over said casket onto it. Crazy shit. Taker then lines up a tombstone and connects it. He then opens the casket, puts Henry in, slams it shut to extend to 14-0. It's simple. I will get to it later. It is it seems there's a lot more going on in this than I actually explained, but yeah, there isn't. Next match. Shawn Michaels defeated Mr. McMahon in a no-holds-barred match. Now, okay, let's get on with it then while I'm ahead of myself. McMahon brings out his cover of Muscle and Fitness with him, and that's one of the things that this storyline centered around, how McMahon wanted to make Michaels' life a living hell because, well, Michaels told him to grow up a bit and just learn to accept his age, while the fact is, he was 60 when this match happened. The Muscle and Fitness makes him look around 40, and in all fairness, it's just showing how, again, McMahon is so egotistical. Michaels runs out, though, whacks him, right after that Muscle and Fitness cover is unveiled to the public again. McMahon's head is then thrown into the announce table soon after it, as JR then points to Shawn to tell him where to go and get him. I must point out, though, in storyline, JR was brought back to this WrestleMania to commentate on McMahon kicking Shawn's ass. And, well, of course, JR being biased in this one match, he wants to show, look, Shawn, you can beat this guy up. He's right here, right next to me. You beat the crap out of him for me. Shawn hits some hard fists and uses JR's headset to choke him out. We want Bret chart rings out as Shawn hits the microphone over the head of McMahon. Shawn then takes the cover of Muscle and Fitness, lines it up in the ring, and hits McMahon with a mighty, mighty whack. And you would think the match would come to an end pretty damn quickly because this is a McMahon squash. No, because the Spirit Squad then comes out to save him, and I want to try and get that group out of my mind. It's hard to, because I look back at 2006, and it's one of the things that always sticks out. Kind of shows how shit 2006 was when you look at it in that way. They save McMahon and beat the crap out of Michaels with their 5-high press slam. Kenny goes to the top rope for his massive leg drop, which still looks impressive. Shawn gets out of it and whacks all of them with their plastic fake megaphone. At least Jimmy Hart's had cojones. It had a full-on look to it. It was at least real, unlike that one. Then again, this is a collegiate male cheerleading team in storyline. You can sense it. HBK then throws Kenny right over the top rope into his other squad members, which Kenny does in the most acrobatic way possible, and I've got to give him plaudits on that. He made it look spectacular and make him look weak at the same time. McMahon then hits a clothesline and strangles Shawn in the corner. McMahon takes his belt off and whips him like a government mule, before wrapping it around his throat, continuing strangling. Shawn then fights back with a chop, but McMahon hits back with a clothesline. McMahon tunes up the band for his own sweet chin music, but Shawn blocks it and then shoots the chops and forearms. Shawn then kips up, grabbing the belt as JR calls it for him to whip McMahon's ass. Scoop slam by HBK, and he goes to the top rope, hits the elbow. Shawn then tunes up the band. You think this is all over, but once again, interference ruins the finish, because Shane McMahon comes out and whacks him with a kendo stick. Shane has handcuffs in his hand, and we're thinking, anything's possible here. Handcuff him, and then have McMahon punch the crap out of him. That's how a usual McMahon match would be in this situation. But of course, one of the major problems of the build-up in this match was that McMahon wanted to get Shawn into the Kiss My Ass Club. which should never have been reprised in all of humanity, let alone common decency. McMahon just then pulls his pants down. We all know what's coming. Shawn is about to get his face plastered into the McMahon's arse, which again JR is continuously stating should not be on television. McMahon is ready for it, but Shawn fights out, puts Shane's face into his dad's ass. And all fairness, nowadays I can still laugh at that because it is funny. Because McMahon's shocked face, when he looks up at the screen to see what's happened, sums it all up. He then eats low blow, and then Michaels puts Shane out of the ring and handcuffs him to the rope. Shawn then throws the key into the crowd and whips Shane with the kendo stick. Michaels then gets a chair, whacks it so damn hard onto Vince's head. The smack is ridiculous. Honest to God. It's the reason why I always get amazed now with full-on straight to the head chair shots. This is why they freak me out nowadays, because that's ridiculously sickening sound. Shawn then lines up a sweet chin music, but he retreats. He gets a ladder out of it, rams it into the head of McMahon, and McMahon is now bleeding profusely like he always does in his matches. It's funny, but it happens all the time. Shawn then lines up another sweet chin music, but again he retreats, throws in a trash can and a table. Shawn then wraps the trash can around McMahon's bloody head. Shawn then puts McMahon onto the table, climbs the ladder ready for a big move, but he tells the fans, shaking his finger, "No, I'm not going to do that." The fans rip the crap out of him. And then, well, put it this way, he takes out a massive ladder. The boos stop and turn into cheers. Shawn punches McMahon and puts the trash can over his head, climbs to the top of at least this 18-foot ladder, hits the DX crotch chop, and hits a massive elbow off the top, right through the trash can. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable. It's like one of those Wrestlemania spots you will always remember. Oh, did I also mention that Shawn hit the DX crotch top too? Yeah, he did. Shawn then tips the ladder out, telling the EMTs not to come and help McMahon. He crotch chops Shane, tells Vince he'll knock his teeth down his throat, hits the sweet chin music for the win. That really could have been done a lot quicker. Next, Rey Mysterio defeats Kurt Angle and Randy Orton in a triple threat match to win the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, I love the start of this match, and this is a fantastic match to boot. Orton grabs the world title from the ref and then whacks Angle with it before the bell rings. And I must also point out that even though Cole and Taz say there's going to be a DQ, there are no DQs in a triple threat match. Just putting it out there. Mysterio runs and springboards off the second rope, but eats dropkick. Cover for 2. German suplex by Angle is blocked by Orton. Angle then German suplexes Orton as Orton's German suplexes Mysterio. It is awesome. It is sublime triple threat moves at its best. And the fact is, Mysterio flies. Because he's the lightest guy in there, he flies to the other side of the ring. Brilliant. Orton hits his patented backbreaker on Angle for 2. Elbow by Orton in the corner, followed by belly-to-belly suplex. Orton is placed on the top rope by Angle. Mysterio then throws Angle head first into Orton's nuts. Attitude Era-esque humour. Angle whips Mysterio. Mysterio jumps onto Orton, hits a brilliant Hurricane Rana. Fantastic. Angle then throws him out and covers for 2. Angle then suplexes Orton off the apron into the ring and covers for 2. Mysterio runs in as Angle goes for the ankle lock, but he then hits him with a clothesline. Angle covers for 2. Mysterio whacks Angle in the head for 2. Surprisingly, all it takes is a kick. Enough said. Irish whip into a head scissors. Mysterio goes for the 619, but Angle then catches him and locks him in the ankle lock. Orton distracts the ref as Mysterio taps. Angle knocks Orton off and goes right back to it. Orton breaks it up and now Angle punches him, but he then eats Germans. Mysterio is Angle slammed out of the ring before locking in the ankle lock on Orton. Mysterio pulls the referee away so he doesn't see Orton tapping. Angle again locks in the ankle lock. Mysterio breaks it up with a massive splash and covers for 2. Mysterio springboards off an Irish whip, but Angle throws him into the steel post. Angle then walks into an RKO. Orton covers, but Angle kicks out at 2. Orton goes to the top rope, but Angle hits a top rope belly to belly. Mysterio then botches a 619 round the post, hits the kick in the seated senton, covers, but Angle kicks out. Orton kicks Angle out of the ring and lines Mysterio for the high angle neckbreaker and hits it. Covers, but Mysterio kicks out again. It's ridiculous. Orton lines up the RKO, but Angle then hits the Angle Slam. Covers, but once again, Randy Orton kicks out. Mysterio then counters the Angle Slam into an arm drag, drop kicks Orton into the ropes, hits the 619 and the West Coast pop, covers for the win. Mysterio, the lightest, the smallest, and to some, the bravest world champion of them all. Oh, that's so wrong I could laugh. Fuck it, I already am. Next, Tori Wilson defeated Candice Michelle in a Playboy pillow fight. Do I really need to explain? No, I don't need to explain because nothing happened. Moving on to the main event. As Todd Grisham used to say, John Cena defeated Triple H to retain the WWE Championship. Now both men circle the ring to study the crowd reaction at the beginning, and Cena is getting booed, Triple H is getting cheered. Not something you'd hear at this time because, to be honest, Cena was a massive face at this point. To be honest, he still is. Collar elbow tie-up to work into a headlock by Triple H, turns into an arm wrench into a takedown. Triple H works on the arm wrenches again, milking the crowd, and they're loving his early dominance, and they're definitely throwing it back. Triple H I've literally lost this. Backs Cena into the corner. That's one thing I didn't proofread. Irish whip reverse by Cena, but Triple H counters an FU with a right hand. The crowd cheer as the ref tends to Cena. Triple H knees Cena and throws him out of the ring, allowing him to again milk the crowd who love him, before Cena then lays out some right hands to the corner, followed by an Irish whip and a back body drop cover for 2. Irish whips into the corner, followed by a fisherman suplex by Cena for 2. Cena applies the headlock as the crowd tells him he can't wrestle. Triple H fights out, backing Cena into the corner. Both punch each other with Cena. Yeah, I'm going a bit too fast here. With Cena gaining more momentum. Whip by Cena sends Triple H over the ropes. I will say this though, Triple H botched it as he didn't hit the turnbuckle. He solved the impact without actually doing the move. And I don't know if this was on purpose or not. I don't know if this was just Cena throwing him into the ropes and he went out, but it was a diagonal. So was it or not? I don't know. Triple H thumbs Cena in the eye to regain control, goes for the pile driver on the concrete, but Cena counters into a back body drop on the steel ramp. Cover for 2. Irish whip countered with a high knee by Triple H, again swinging momentum his way. Ground punches and choking ensure the game will keep it. Triple H whips Cena into the steps shoulder first, leaving him to again get in the ring and cheer the crowd on. And it's just amazing that a heel is accepting crowd reception like this. It's ridiculous. A stiff punch to the face by Triple H, covers back in the ring for 2. Let's go Cena. Cena sucks chants ring out many years before it was commonplace as Cena drives the knees into the champion's skull. Cover for 2. Gut shots by Cena, countered by a facebuster and a massive clothesline. Cover, but again Cena kicks out. Neckbreaker covers for 2. Cena fights up, but is selling the beating with grogginess. Swinging neckbreaker by Triple H, cover, but again Cena kicks out. Neck vice locked in by Triple H. Good working on the neck there, because it's done well. Cena fights out, but Triple H locks in the sleeper to keep the momentum and offense once more. Cena fights out with the shoulder blocks in the corner, but again Triple H counters. Cena follows up with a massive clothesline of his own. Cena then is holding the shoulder and lower neck area as both throw punches at each other. Simple little psychology. Even though I will say this, it stops after that. Triple H stops with the knee, but Cena again rebounds to the clothesline, followed by some more, and a nice power slam, followed up by the Protoplex. The crowd are booing the shit out of him as he lines up for the 5-knuckle shuffle. 5-knuckle shuffle. Why am I getting spoonerism with the sound of these words? It's really confusing me. Triple H gets up and, to quote Mark Pearson, hits the quad-ripping spinebuster of doom! Seriously, that is one of the greatest quotes in YouTube wrestling history. Anyway, 1, 2, Cena kicks out of it. Cena then hits back with a flying shoulders, but Triple H again hits him with another sleeper hold. Cena then struggles, but manages to hit a backdrop, followed by the ending of said 5-knuckle shuffle. Cena pumps up, but instead of the FU, locks in the STFU. After a bit of struggling, Triple H gets to the ropes. Cena then lines up the FU, Triple H then pushes him into the ref, and obviously to try and get the crowd against him, hits Cena and the referee with a low blow. Some of the crowd are obviously booing him, but there are some people who are still cheering anyway. Triple H then gives him the DX crotch chop sign, gets his sledgehammer out, goes to whack Cena. Cena pounces back off the ropes, but Triple H hits him off the rebound. It seems to be over. 1, 2, Cena kicks out. Another cover. Cena kicks out again. Triple H lines up a pedigree. Cena counters with a back body drop. Hits the FU! Out of nowhere. 1, 2, but Triple H is kicked out. The crowd is going potty. They're going mental. Cena goes to the top rope, misses what I think was a splash. Couldn't really tell. It could have been his leg drop for all we know. Triple H lines up a pedigree, but Cena counters it into an STFU. Triple H goes limp. 2 arms go down. There is still fight in the challenger. He struggles, but he gives in and taps. Cena sells the effect of the match as the screen goes to the epilogue clip to close the show. It's taken nearly 40 minutes to get through all 11 matches. Now, that was a smaller card, I could have gotten through that quicker. But now, here's on to the final ratings of every single match. First off, Big Show and Kane versus Carlito and Chris Masters. Pros, offensive. The offense was... Oh, no, it wasn't offensive there. The offense was shifted between the two teams, if only for a small while. To be honest, I don't like it when matches can be squash matches or a one-sided match. I like it when there's a combined offense. And it was good to see, even for a small part, there was this. It was a fast-paced match. Even with 2 super heavyweights involved, that didn't slow it down. And the crowd liked seeing Show and Kane beat the crap out of Carlito and Masters, simply because they were really hated as heels, my god. The cons, however. It was an immensely one-sided match, even with the small amount of offense. It, to me, just felt like a complete squash. And that really didn't... I really didn't feel happy with that. I really didn't. It was just... It did not leave a satisfying feeling while watching it, especially when this is the opener. Think about it. The year before, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio. One fantastic match. This... No way. Gah. Even with this being a fast match, not many moves were used, making the fast pace, sign a lack of move variety. Not very nice to see. I like seeing move variety, but nah, this match didn't give it. And I've already mentioned it at the start of the review for this match, the commentators did not build up the challenges, so how the fans are meant to care about them or give them a chance, I have no clue. It really annoys me when the heel is given no chance. Then again, when the hell do you ever see that? To be honest with you, the heel is always given a chance, but then the face is given no chance, usually. Anyway, I think I'll be kind for the pros I've given it. Give it 1 star. 1 solitary star. It was decent. It wasn't anything to write home about, but I'll give it a good rating for what little it gave. Money in the Bank 2. Now, it was fast, furious, and full of moments that left me on the edge of my seat. Shelton Benjamin's springboard, him springing off the rope onto the ladder, Flair's suplex, the leg drop, the side effect from Hardy. A lot on here. There's a lot, and RVD's splash, which did still feel anticlimactic. Nonetheless, they are all good moments, fantastic moments. Flair sold that suplex so damn well I thought he was hurt. Simple. I mentioned it in the match itself. It's brilliant, because no one sells that kind of thing that well. Honestly, you fall off a ladder, you should sell it that well if you've got a previous injury. All men got some offense in some way. Good. You need offense in a multi-man matchup. You need everyone getting something. It went for the perfect amount of time. It didn't go on too long like some of the later Money in the Bank matches did. I felt it served its purpose. It didn't feel like it dragged at all. There wasn't too many gaps in it at all. There was no major slow moments in it, which is fantastic. The crowd were hot for it. Of course, it's Money in the Bank. Of course the crowd are going to be hot for it. And Hardy sold his leg drop briefly. Good to know he did, because it would have been worthless if he hadn't have sold it. The cons. Now, in a Money in the Bank ladder match, you wouldn't expect there to be too many cons if it's really exciting. I'll say it now, it was exciting. However, these are my cons. RVD, in all fairness, didn't do much. He was on the outside for the most of it. If he had done more, I would have given a shit about his victory. But looking back on it, It's how a lot of Money in the Bank matches are actually done, where a guy who doesn't do much gets the victory. And I hate that, but especially in RVD's case. He's lazy, but we don't need to have it compounded in his in-ring work here. Flair came back later in the match and no-sold that back, which is bad. I mean, seriously, he was slightly limping to get back out, but that was it. I didn't really see too much holding the back and going, yeah, I'm back in. But then again, he didn't last very long to make sure it didn't dampen on the match. Really, if he had gone on for ages not selling that back, for what, another 5-10 minutes, that would have been a problem. But it was only for what, 2 minutes? He got hit with the shillelagh and that was that. Apart from Flair's marvellous oversell and Hardy's minor selling, nothing really was done psychology-wise, unlike the year before's Money in the Bank, where Benoit's arm was continually focused on. That is what made Money in the Bank 1 so damn good. You had the Benoit fighting with the really hurt arm, load of random shit going on, it was mental. This was nothing like that. And in the end, the pros and cons kind of even themselves out. I'll give it 2.5 stars. It was a good match, but it really is dampened on by some real poor psychology issues, and just a few other things that I probably haven't mentioned, but you know what I mean. It's mostly in a psychology sense that brings this match down, and the fact that it didn't, I don't know, because even though some of the spots made me freak out, I still wasn't as into it as I should have been. Chris Benoit vs JBL. Now, JBL did fantastic mat work in this, showing that he should have had a similar match like this with Cena a year ago. He should have, because it proved he's a decent ring worker, using moves he'd rarely ever done. He adapted to the opponent and proved he wasn't a brawler. There was great countering throughout. And I will tell you now, the countering in this was some of the most fluid and brilliant I think I've seen in quite some time. It was fantastic, giving both men their offense meaning and purpose. And, in my opinion, this is how a heavyweight versus light heavyweight match should work. It wasn't a squash, but it was an overall struggle for dominance. That's what it should be, damn it. And JBL, and there's a couple more here, JBL did a good job working the neck and the head of Benoit, really adding to the feel of it. Benoit did the same early on. They didn't really sell it too well, but at least they managed to work it. Good to know. A dirty finish was the perfect way to end this, because it's usual for JBL. You wouldn't see a JBL match usually end in victory for him without a dirty finish, so why would this be any different? I felt it was perfect, because it was such an even contest. You needed something like that to break it, and it did. The cons. Now, I bet you're telling me right now, how the fuck can you find a con with what you've just mentioned? To be honest, the opening quarter of the match felt rushed, as Benoit looked to hit his finishes early, and to me, that was not really the best thing could have done. Okay, Foley and Edge had the same issue, but with a guy like Benoit, you like to see him methodically beat the crap out of people with his array of moves. And to be honest, I'm used to seeing it. However, the pace did slow down a bit, allowing for some good mat work to take some cover for it. I would have loved the match to actually have gone on longer, because to me, even though it had a lot going and I was happy with what was in it, I really felt there needed to be a bit more. Just like, well, another 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, I would have been happy. Just to have this match go on a tiny bit longer, it would have been fine. The crowd seemed dead, but it did liven up towards the end. Again, highlighting the fact that WWE crowds sometimes do not like technical wrestling. Why they don't like it is beyond me, because this is the stuff I mark out for. Okay, we're 2 different people, or however many people listening to this on YouTube right now, but that's what I like about wrestling. Technical ability shown. Because you can't just have a spot fest forever. Attitude Era nut jobs, I'm looking in your direction. So yeah, it was a great match, thoroughly enjoyed it, but those things really bring it down. I'll give it 3 stars. I would have given it more, but again, the length really does hamper in. I loved it. You know what, I'll give it 3. I'll give it 3 for what it's worth. Edge versus Mick Foley. Where do I start? Unbelievable spots. I mean, flaming table, barbed wire baseball bat, thumbtacks, blood. I mean, they used every single bit of the ring and then some. If they'd gone to the back, this would have been even more crazy. It was ridiculous. Actually, fuck it. If they fought in the back, that would have been even more mental, wouldn't it? Weapon usage combined with moves made both elements seem natural with the opponents working in it. Honestly, it felt like a hardcore match. It was a hardcore match, but to be honest with you, it didn't feel gimmicky in the slightest. The way those weapons were used in the methodical pacing of the match, you went from some basic weaponry to some sick weaponry to some holy shit, what the fuck are you doing weaponry. We go from cookie sheets to thumbtacks to barbed wire to fire. Enough said. The pacing of those weapon usage was fantastic. It didn't seem gimmicky, it paced itself well. The crowd were into this, but it did take them time to fully appreciate it, but that mostly could be down to shock and awe of what they were seeing. I cringed even when watching it back. I am still enthralled by this match, even to this day, 6 years on. Joey Styles' commentary fit the match bloody well, and I will tell you now it definitely worked, but I've always left wondering what JR would have sounded like doing this. It would have been so fun. The match lasted long enough to tell the story with a myriad of weapons showing how far it needed to go to put this feud to bed. Again, shows escalation through the scale of weapon use. Brilliant. The match lasted long. Again, I've already just mentioned that. Lita's involvement was minimal, but paramount. So what happens when you've got someone on the outside there? Gotta use them. It was small, but it affected the outcome. Good stuff. Both men got offense, even though, I'll say this, they both got offense, which you'd expect in a hardcore match is fantastic to see, but it made the match unpredictable as hell, because I did not think it was going to be that close. The obvious cons. I noticed the blade job. Enough said. That's a bad one in its set. Despite the barbed wire going into the arm and the barbed wire back going to the open wounds and edge going into the thumbtacks, selling didn't prove notable in this until right at the end when they went through the table and actual pain took over. Just saying, that's a problem right there. It didn't feel like they were really selling it. Okay, Edge having his face wrapped in the barbed wire, that's great, but there wasn't too much of it. Really wasn't. I was really shocked by that. Even though the flaming table was epic, maybe there could have been a Spanish announce table spot early on to build this match even better. But there wasn't. I was thinking that a Spanish announce table was not used all night. Could have used it. So yeah, those cons take away from this otherwise flawless match. Little things I'm irking here, but 4 3/4 stars. Come on. I would have given it 5 if it wasn't for the stuff I've just pointed out. It was almost perfect. Almost. But you find a flaw with something, you got to take it down. Boogeyman versus Booker T and Sharmell. There are no pros to this. The cons are very simple. Very slow pace. Boogeyman's finisher was the only thing he did, minus a forearm. No other offense from him at all, did not deserve winning, and this is the definition of melodramatic sports entertainment filler. A 0. Hands down, a 0. Trish versus Mickie. Fantastic psychology. Working and selling on that leg was fantastic. And if you need to look at how a good match is done and you don't oversell, look at that. The match lasted the right amount of time to build up well, and I loved how the double turn happened. The fans wanted Mickie to win even though she was a heel. Put an interesting spin on it. Cons. The chip kick at the end did not get the desired reaction and fell on deaf ears from the crowd. They wanted to see her DDT. The pace fluctuated throughout, causing the match to slow down when it didn't need to, and I felt that was annoying, because over time, the match should have quickened, and the leg stomping should have continued, should have just been a ferocious beating on the thing, because Mickie James' character is a psychopath, so you'd expect it, but there wasn't any. Mickie's move variety was limited, but so was Trish's. Luckily, the psychology elements which took over the match made up for it. And you know what? It's bouncing out here. I'll give it 2 stars, and for a Divas match, that is worth every penny. The psychology makes up most of that, but you see what I mean? The psychology is enough. That's all it needs. Just like RP. Undertaker, Mark Henry. It didn't last too long due to the fact that there were 2 super heavyweights involved and it needed to be done quickly. Simple. Henry's offense made him look strong, even though it was obvious he wasn't going to win. I'm happy he had a strong offense. Cons. It seemed like a throwaway while the build was there. It felt like it didn't belong and the fan interest was not really there throughout. Simple. Apart from a few finishes and Taker's leap, there wasn't much else bar striking, making it a repetitive match move-wise. Henry could have used more psychology to work Taker's body down, but there were no signs of it. As the match was predictable, I really couldn't get into it either. So, for all it was worth, it had some redeeming qualities, but I wouldn't even give it that. 3/4 of a star. That's the worst match of the night bar zeros. Michaels vs McMahon. Pros. Very good weapon shots, and the elbow drop and the vile chair shot were damn fun, but somehow sickening to watch at the same time. McMahon got his ass kicked with barely any offense, and for a person like me, that's a positive. JR's passionate commentary was refreshing, especially noting that he was biased for storyline purposes. The kiss my ass swerve, I didn't see it coming 6 years ago, but it's still funny now. Couldn't go wrong with it. The cons, and there are quite a few here. While it is awesome to see McMahon get his ass kicked, even I would admit they went overboard with this. It turned into a squash from the moment the bell rung. McMahon's offense was effective, but it was very small. When taken into the broader picture of how this match was done, it was a squash in that respect. It was overbooked with multiple interferences. I did not need that. I really didn't. It could have ended a lot quicker as well. It should have been a lot shorter. And the crowd were in and out of it. Only when weapons were in use were they really into it. Honestly, weapons do change a crowd reaction. And for that, I give it 1.25 stars. It was substandard, and this should never have won the PWI Match of the Year. What the fuck were they thinking? Just because it has Shawn Michaels in it does not mean it has to win. Angle versus Mysterio and Orton. One of the fastest, most intense and brilliant showcases of wrestling I have ever seen. And if you weren't up in your seat watching and loving this, I don't know who the fuck you are. The crowd were into it immediately, enjoying every second. Brilliant triple team moves and suplexes. These guys put their whole arsenal out there to make it brilliant. Making both of his opponents tap out gave Angle legitimacy for winning, and it's good to make a champion feel strong even in a triple threat scenario, even though we lost. It's good. Orton's start to the match was original. Never seen that before. Epic. The cons. Way too short. Obvious that is the major con here. It should have gone on longer. A botched 619 by Ray towards the end. Ugh. Seriously, you've done it before, dude. This was before your knees really fuck up. Shouldn't have botched it. Even with Angle and Mysterio and Orton all in one match, psychology wasn't a factor. Combined with the length and the pace, it made the match feel rushed. Not good at all. In my opinion, this should have been a main event match. Because of Ray's win, it should have done it. It took away from Ray's win, it pissed me off. And I'll give it 3.5 stars. It was fantastic. But if it was longer, had more psychology, and was the main event, I would probably give it 4.25, 4.5 star. It was that good, seriously. How can you make a 9.5 minute match be that damn good? I have no clue. It was fun. Tori Wilson and Candice Michelle. Again, do I even need to explain? Shit match, 0. And finally, Cena vs Triple H. The crowd was hot. Gave the match a proper main event feel. The match was paced well. Slightly slow at the start, but definitely made the ending worth once damage had been done. Cena solved the effect of the match as it went on. Grogginess during and at the end of the match was honestly refreshing, even in an archival sense. Triple H worked, and Cena solved the neck during the match. It was a small amount of psychology, but I loved it anyway. The cons. It shouldn't have main evented the pay-per-view. That shouldn't be a factor, but it is when you look at what has happened before it. Those entrances. Why? Why did you need 2 entrances that took up 15 fucking minutes? It took time away from the triple threat and shows why I don't like them at the best of times. Seriously, there weren't too many moves that were done in this match, bar punches and the occasional big suplex or two. Very bland move-wise. While Triple H did have a lot of momentum, it didn't feel as one-sided as many modern Cena matches. Meaning the comeback wasn't as predictable. Despite that, it is still a con. Cena's offense was still limited. Despite the pace working, I don't think it needed to be as long as it was due to the slow start. It made the match drag on. And despite there sounding like there was a lot going on, it was just me trying to thoroughly think if it was a good match or not. it wasn't much to write home about. And despite seemingly good on paper, I wasn't into it. It didn't push the right buttons for me at all. And guys, I'll give it 1 3/4 stars. Simple. 1 3/4 stars is all this damn thing deserved. Anyway, on to my final thoughts for this pay-per-view, WrestleMania 22. This pay-per-view has been hailed as one of the big 5 WrestleManias, along with 10, X7, 19 and 21. And after reviewing WrestleMania 10 and slaughtering it, I was hoping for better from another big 5 Mania, and thankfully, by God, thankfully, this show was better. However, let me point this out to you. It isn't without its flaws. Sure, this show had a perfect mixture of what a good wrestling show needs. A divas match with actual psychology and build-up, a violent and entertaining match, a technical but physical bout, a crowd that is really hot for a main event, and a main event that, of course, they were going to be hot for, and a spot fest, as well as a crowd-loving win for an underdog. With all that together, you should be able to tell why someone would enjoy this show, but the errors that this show has do still take away some shine from the event. While I can praise WrestleMania 22's high points all day, its low points are numerous. But thankfully, some are on a small level compared to some other Manias. 1. Another McMahon match that was overbooked. And 2. An underwhelming Taker match. 3. 2 throwaway matches that did nothing for the show. 4. An opening match which did little to build the challengers up at all, along with the rest of the night, along with 2 stupid long entrances for the main event, and a lack of psychology for the majority of the evening, bar some obvious exceptions. With 11 matches, the card is overfilled, like many in the early to mid-2000s. However, there is enough good to make this a good show to watch. However, I would not get too excited about how fantastic this is. I really wouldn't. This pay-per-view has some good, but not enough bad to overshadow it. I will say that again. But it is far from perfect. My God, it is far from perfect. You just don't think because you can go along with all the hype. Because I don't eat into hype. I watch it and give it a review at face value. I do not let nostalgia eat in. And it is far from perfect. The unbalanced flow of the quality of the card is testament to it. You go from a 1 star to a 2 star to a 3 star to a nothing to a 4.5, and you know what I mean. The card has inconsistencies throughout. And therefore, everybody, I give WrestleMania 22 an above average 6.5 out of 10. Very but good. I have to tell you now, I would not normally go too far in giving something that good rating, but honestly, it is not as good as I remember it, but it's still fun to watch. And guys, after, holy fuck, after over an hour of your time, and probably what is the longest review I've ever done, there we go. Friday Flashback number 4, I think, is complete. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. I really do hope you've enjoyed it. Should be fun. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this. Another Friday Flashback will be coming eventually. Not too sure which one that will be. If you want to hear more, including the Hell in a Cell predictions video that is coming up on Saturday, all you need to do is click the subscribe button up there and you will get it. Comment your views on what you thought of WrestleMania 22. What did you think of my review? Put it down there in the comment section. And guys, I will see you on Saturday. I've been Cream Crazy. You've been people listening. This has been a Friday Flashback of WrestleMania 22. I will see you on Saturday for the build-up to Hell in a Cell, which, honestly, I bet you guys are waiting to hear my opinion for. Have a good weekend. I'll see you then. Cheers and goodbye.